Day 22. Welcome to this midweek special edition episode of Behind the Scenes, E-True Hollywood Story, Hopper's Hot Rods, where we're gonna just try to get this engine out, make some progress on the other engine, start cleaning up parts. We pulled the transmission out last. You know what? The video will save 1,000 words. So cue the music. If you've ever watched the A-Team show, you'll know that they go into an old building and cobble together some sort of creative device out of whatever they have laying around. I mean, they're usually building a tank, you know, that'll launch a basketball at the bad guy. But I'm going to make an internal engine hoist out of whatever I have laying around, and it'll be dangerous and non-professional. Let's do a montage. Where's my guitar? That's it. These are nice and tight, and now we have a stable platform to pay no attention to that. It's still going to work. Still going to work. Makeshift boom and pulley system, somewhat attached in the cab, and we have a boat winch attached to the back for safety. It's wedged in with some 2x4s and stuff. So really all I need to do is hit this switch and the engine should just, you know, magically lift up. Yep. I might need. Now the plan is simple. I just hit the button. I'll raise the back of the engine up enough to where then I can just prop up the front of the engine off the mounts, then adjust the adjuster until the engine gently flips earthward, then raise the van, put a table underneath it, catch it, swap everything to the other engine, and reverse the process. And just like that, we'll have a new engine in here. That doesn't look good. I'm going to try it again from this side. We'll just be gently lifting the engine and adjusting it, and it'll lightly, just naturally smash out of the van. not going to say it went without a hitch, but it's out. It's out from under the van. I think with a little adjustment, I could use this to put the new engine in. No, that's terrible. I'm only a little surprised that worked, but I am a little surprised that worked. Now before we go ahead and start taking everything off of this engine, we still have to put the last piston in on the other engine, and we might as well replace all the bolts with the reusable bolts and ARP fasteners that we got, torque them down, then use the degree. We'll try to do it like you're supposed to. If you watched the last episode, you may remember that I bent one of the rings to where it's no longer circular, and I just didn't know if I tried to force this back into place, was that a bad idea? Or I'm not an experienced engine builder, so I'm just ordering new ones. That way I have another extra one. I took some time with the Dremel and polished out the big gouge that it put in the installation tool, and it worked fine to install the other pistons. So we should be good there. Here's our spacer rings. We're going to compare them with the one that did not go in because they are a different brand, but they're round and they look identical. I have the Sealed Power brand economy ones in there. I think these Hastings are the same exact thing. They are the plasma moly whatever. This is the part number. And so I'm going to say this spacer is the same thickness. We're going to use it and get this engine put together. Here's our piston. It's all ready to go. All right, here's our main bolts. There will be 2 rows of those, and then ones go in the side over here. So we'll start by replacing all those with the new hardware, torquing them, and then we will do the, I'll demonstrate the angle gauge. So give me just a minute, I'll get this going. Now we torque the inner ones to 15 foot-pounds. So I've got my torque wrench set for 15. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. And then the outer ones though get torqued to 15 foot-pounds. Then the side ones get torqued to 15 foot-pounds. So everything gets torqued to 15 foot-pounds, but then comes the torque to with the degree thing. I'll show you that in a second. And what we've got is a torque angle gauge, and the way it works is the socket goes on here, goes on the bolt. You can clip this in place, and you can, if you get really good, you can kind of hold it while you're doing this. Now, anywhere you set the torque angle gauge up, you can then dial this to 0 degrees, which is what we're going to do. Now the inner bolts, which are these are the outers, go to 15 foot-pounds on the first torque pass. Then they go to 80 degrees, which will be, just shy of 90 degrees, I guess. And if the engine block wiggles, I apologize. I'm going to try to let it not move too much. So it's 15 foot-pounds plus an additional 80 degrees. So you don't want this to move. And that's 80 right there. And so I'll repeat that process for all the inner bolts. And then the outer bolts go to 15 foot-pounds on the first pass, and then 53 degrees. So now on this one, I can just reset to 0. Make sure the torque angle gauge doesn't move, and try to pull it to 80 degrees, which is there. That's it. It's not a complicated thing to use. They're not expensive. I've had pretty good luck using this Chrysler loaner tool that I probably got at like O'Reilly's. It's a Chrysler harmonic balancer pulley removal tool, but it seems to work pretty good on these LS applications. I noticed that I stuck a big nut in here, so it probably requires a spacer. somewhere. It'll come back to me once we start cranking on it. I remember now, I trimmed this bolt down, cut the flange off this bolt so it would fit right through the center. Now when you grip it with this bolt will push in, and you understand. Well, that worked perfectly, but I forgot to film it, so it worked perfectly. Hopefully wrestle off this front cover. I know we can take off this top cover, which doesn't really help us at all right now. I feel like we just installed this not long ago. Well, in order to take the oil pan off this engine, I have to put it back up on the engine hoist, which means taking the pulley back out of the van from that engine hoist, then putting some straps on this, lifting it up and doing it from underneath. But it's got to be done, and I refuse to buy another engine stand just so that I can get this oil pan off and make it a little more convenient, because once I get that engine off that stand, this one can go on that stand. You understand? No more stands. There we are, no reason to get it too terribly high. Now I'll just put a one of these things underneath it, pop the oil pan off, just like that. Just when you think I have a clue what I'm doing, I go and totally redeem myself. I hooked up the winch and lifted the engine. I was going to pull the oil pan off so I could remove the oil pump pickup tube and the oil pump so that I could remove the timing set in the cam. And then I realized all I have to do is take these 3 bolts out and you can remove this gear and pull the cam out. So let's just do that. That'll be a lot easier. I did go ahead and spin it over so that the dots are lined up to each other. So when I install a new cam, although I know I'm going to pull this engine apart, I don't know. It's just something you do. What do you want from me? There we are. Perfectly good timing gear. And now we need those things. Oh, this looks reusable. I don't see any melting or any damage to this, which is a good sign. Seems to be moving pretty good. Well, good, there's a number on it. We can check it out. Here's a comparison. This is the cam we just took out, and it looked like it started to change to a little more golden color. This is a stock cam. They came out of a high mileage Escalade with a 6-liter. And you can see here on this lobe is what we're looking at. Just sort of staining that it comes and goes right there. That's with a couple of scratches. They're not terrible, but there are scratches. You can see them. So I am going to take them to the engine shop and let them just check this thing out. Exciting news from the machine shop. He said I could reuse this cam, no problem. The little markings on it are nothing to worry about. He did recommend that I try to keep the temperature under 1,000 degrees this time. So we'll try. Now I can jam. That's the cam installed. And now we're going to put on the timing set. And I got a cool new, I'll show you. Come here, I'll show you what I got. All right, this is the cam retaining plate. We got a new one. That way we have the other one in the other engine. New timing set. That way we have the other one in the other engine. You see where I'm going with this. I'm not going to get caught with my pants down on this next deal. When I blow this engine up, I'll be ready with a whole backup engine ready to go. Or we'll be way ahead on the Cadillac engine and we can get that thing put together. So here's a timing gear, chain, all that stuff. But to make it even more accurate now, they have this aftermarket tensioner thing to keep it super accurate, extra quiet, no slop in the chain, and we're going to run that on this engine. It's made by Melling. It's no, little knockoff company. So this is held in place with the retainer plate, and it's like one of the more modern LS engines with the chain tensor to keep everything super accurate. Instructions. So I'm going to get reading, and I'll be with you in a minute. We'll jam all this on there. I didn't have a bearing puller, which is what a lot of people use when they take this gear off, so that I can install the new gear. So I cobbled together a piece of plate steel and just welded a couple of nuts on it, because although I don't have the proper puller, I do, and I sprayed it down first with Penetrone 90 to get some molybdenum up in there, and then let that soak. I made this to where it fits, and it's pretty much in the center. And I do have a steering wheel puller. Now, will this work on a timing gear? I don't know, but if it doesn't, then I got to go to Harbor Freight and get the right thing. But all right, here's the solution I came up with. I took two 3-inch sockets. I have an old one, and I just cut the end of it off, and that made it just the right length, I'm hoping, to fit in here. And it's kind of got a natural bevel. So when I put the bolts in to my makeshift plate, see, like such, it'll be sort of self-centering on the, I don't know, I'm just going to try this and then I'll go get the right tool. Is it going to work? It's not good. I don't see it moving yet. Oh, I used this metal plate so we keep the crank from turning. That's an accident. I did not do that. Oh, something just gave. Did I just break the socket extension? No, it's moving. Look at that. Like I said, I knew this would work because, you know, it's naturally designed to work properly, and look at that. So if you need to make one of these, just weld a couple nuts onto a little metal plate, carve out the thing, and you know, make a divining rod. Anyway, on to the next one. Take 22. Here's our keyway for our timing gear. To keep the engine from spinning while we work on it, I'm going to be using the crankshaft isolation tool, the IC 2000, by jamming it in here like so, maybe. Now we're going to take our timing gear. We can just use our old gear. It's into the crank ratchet. I got you flipped around this way, so maybe the sound and the lighting could be even worse than it was facing the other direction. It is time to put on our camshaft thrust plate or retaining plate, and we're going to use one of the supplied countersunk bolts that comes pre-coated with the Loctite stuff here on it. Then going to install our new tensioner adapter from Melling. The countersunk bolt gets torqued to 11 foot-pounds, and the other ones get torqued to 15 to 18 foot-pounds. This one goes to 11. Little Spinal Tap joke for you there. And spacers supplied with the deal. Looking nice and complete. The timing is buttoned up. We got her lined up dot to dot. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all lined up with number 1 at top dead center. Lifter trays installed. I don't have bolts for the oil pump, and I'm tired, so you're probably tired of watching. I'm gonna end this video here. I made a list for my homework. Why do we call it a punch list? See you next week. Thanks for watching.